Hi, I'm Kirsten.
I'm Torry.
And this is Mess Magnets.
Woohoo!
We're back. We're back, baby. Another week. Sasha is still out of the country.
I know. I hope her travels are going well.
She made it work. She had 2 weddings in the same day where she did, in fact, have to catch a flight between wedding 1 and wedding 2. And she did make it work. Also, I'm pretty sure that was on her birthday.
That's insane. I've never heard of anyone do that. But if anyone in the world that I had to guess would do that, it's her, to be honest.
She had no choice. She had to attend both. So we're proud of her for making it work. She is not getting away with those being on tour allegations.
No, literally, truly.
But yes, we're back again. Thank you so much to Mary Kwiatkowski for filling in last week. Literally pinch hitter, and she did a great job. But Torry's here this week. Torry's been on Mess Magnets many times before, but if you're new or you missed those for some reason, Torry, do you want to give people a little insight into the podcasting you do?
Yeah, totally. So I host Ready to Be Petty. It's a Patreon-only podcast covering pop culture, news, and celebrity gossip. Sometimes reality TV. And then I also host Ready to Be Romanced, which is a public free show. You can find that anywhere you listen to podcasts, and it covers romance novels. And Kirsten's been on both many a time.
I mean, a few times, probably.
No, like at least 2 for each of that. Like RTBP, like probably 10. I don't know, 5. I don't know.
I could not even begin to say, but yes, I love chatting to Torry, and her podcasts are both great. So if you have the time and bandwidth, definitely go check them both out. As well, once again, Mess Magnets. I feel like people don't always catch every episode, so maybe people are not up to date on the latest news. We do have our own YouTube now, youtube.com/@mess.magnets, and we are independent from RHAP, so we also have started a Patreon to literally make that possible. So that's patreon.com/messmagnets, and if you could just support whatever you can, whether that's subscribing on YouTube or if you have $5 to throw at the Patreon. We appreciate you regardless, messengers, but just wanted to remind everyone up top because I posted that we have gone independent the other day on Blue Sky, and a lot of people were like, wait, what? We missed this. And so this is me making sure to remind everyone right up top.
That's so fair. And I love the concept of your Patreon.
Yes, we're calling it the comfort zone, and we're just talking about like fun TV. It was honestly kind of inspired by when you and I talked about Emily in Paris on Mess Magnets like a few months ago. That kind of got the ball rolling. I don't know if you knew that.
No, but I remember I was filling you in on the lore because you didn't watch the show, and then there was drama with the man who plays Gabrielle, I don't know.
Gabrielle. Well, and I think it was also like you had previously kind of filled me in on the show, but then we both randomly finished watching the most recent season at like the same time. Even though it had been out for months.
That was so weird. But yeah, I am known for, I think, watching TV shows months after they air.
Random question. Have you watched Hacks?
No, but okay. I listened to a podcast of one of the writers on Hacks called Seek Treatment. One of the co-hosts, Pat Regan, is a writer on Hacks. And also every single person in my entire life tells me that I need to watch it because obviously it's right up my alley. And I just haven't, because I don't, after just talking about Emily in Paris, I don't watch that much scripted TV.
I understand. You need to make an exception. The episodes are only 30 minutes. Also,
I will. I want to check out Hacks. I gotta watch The Bear season 4. But like literally, I'm like, if I had to count the number of shows of scripted TV that I've watched in the last few years, it's like the Bridgerton seasons and Emily in Paris, and then just like that, like sad lineup. So
that's depressing.
I know, it's like so depressing. I just watch basically all reality TV, Bravo, the CBS shows, and like Love Island. I'm like 2 episodes behind, but I'm going to catch up maybe tomorrow night, maybe Friday night. Fun plans on a Friday night.
There's no new episode on Wednesday night, so you could easily get caught up by the end of Friday.
Yes, I think I'm going to do that. Cuz the last episode, actually, you know what? I must be a few more than 2, but the last episode I think I watched was the major recoupling. So I think there's
Oh, so you have 3. Yeah, you have 3 more to watch. And I need to tell you, all 3 of those episodes are cuckoo bananas, like crazy town.
Yeah, so also I spoil myself. Like I'm on Twitter and I'm on TikTok and I'm in a group chat. So I know basically everything that has happened, but I know I need to watch the episodes because obviously there's a lot that doesn't get picked up, a lot of nuance. But otherwise I've been following that. Like I've literally watched like the episode when it airs first, like all like the first like 20 some, and then
no, I'm
got busy.
Literally every day 6 p.m.
Yes.
Love Island. And then on Wednesdays when there's no episode, I'm in misery.
I was in misery again when I was watching regularly. Also, I was in fucking Newfoundland. I guess I can swear now that we're not on the Daddy network,
we swore anyways the whole time.
You did, but like very minimally, but which I respect.
Now you can be vulgar.
Now I can really go in. But when I was in Newfoundland, the episodes would come out at 10:30 because of Newfoundland time.
Yeah, in case people didn't know, there are actually time zones that are later than Eastern Standard Time that are not yet in Europe. So like there's Atlantic time, which is an hour past Eastern time, but then Newfoundland is just like randomly an additional 30 minutes later than that. I don't understand how it works because like to me, if time zones are going to go by increments of 30 minutes, wouldn't it be like that universally? I don't get it.
It was explained to me that it was like basically its own country until it joined Canada in 1949. So it had its own time zone. But like I agree that like everything else,
countries share time zones.
Yeah, I'm just like get on the Atlantic one or get on like the other one, but obviously that will just never happen again. So like they're not going to change the time zone. So
it's genuinely so bizarre.
It was so funny though when we landed in St. John's and a guy that was like a few rows behind me. Also, people are like, I literally don't care about this.
And guess what? This is a Canadian podcast today. Deal with it.
Yeah, literally. Canada Day was yesterday, so it's in our right to talk like 5 minutes of Canadian culture. But we landed in St. John's and literally there was a guy like 2 rows behind me and he was like, what? The time zone is like 4.5 hours past Pacific Standard Time? I'm like, yeah, like he straight up did not know until he landed and his iPhone updated.
Honestly, it's a fair thing to not know.
Like, yeah, I guess that's
the only reason I even know is because when we used to have like satellite TV, we would get like Newfoundland channels and it would talk about Newfoundland time. So
nice.
Because I've never been. That's the only province I haven't been to.
That's crazy. Yeah, I haven't been to now just Manitoba and Saskatchewan for provinces.
Pretty good. Okay. Yeah. Should we talk about pop culture?
Yeah, let's get into it because we have more shit to talk.
Yes, like this is gonna be like a super chill shit talk episode of Mess Magnets. There is not a lot going on at the moment. It's summer, you know, everyone's all on their yachts and vacations, and I guess maybe even the paparazzi gets a holiday because there is nothing, even like, I don't know, there's so much just like little fluff stories and then like the darkest things you've ever heard about in your life that are not really like the vibe of Mess Magnets.
No, I know. I feel like last week was like kind of the last week, I guess makes sense. Last week of June, I feel like we had a lot to talk about.
I
And
mean, was it a lot? Was it a lot to talk
I don't
about?
know. I liked the Taylor Swift stuff, I guess. And then this week,
It was meant to be you.
I know, literally. I wanted to talk about tight end university. And then um literally this week, I was like, what are we talking about? Because there's literally nothing. Kirsten's like, I don't know. Like,
I was like, dude, nothing is happening. But you know what? It
it's
took
July.
me a long time to cobble together a little podcast, but thankfully we're yappers, so we will make it happen.
Yeah.
First and foremost, are you acquainted with a man named Jeff Bezos?
Unfortunately, yeah, everything I've learned about him, it's been against my will. But it's so funny because people are saying that because he got married to Lauren Sanchez, it's like the wedding of the century. And then someone was talking about it on a pod and they were like, it's the wedding of the last 2 weeks. Like that. And that's truly, I think, the like TLDR of
No,
this.
period. Because like Sasha and I have talked about shit, and I can't remember their names. The Indian wedding that happened like last
With
year with
yes,
like
with Kim
and
and
that
Chloe.
was a wedding with a budget that showed out. Every single event was amazing. Everything was so good. The news stories coming out of it were genuinely interesting.
Yeah.
And then this year we have Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, and they paid allegedly approximately $50 million for their wedding, which was on June 27th in Venice. Of note, Venice is the first city in the world to introduce a tourist entry fee to try and alleviate the pressure of mass tourism to make it livable for residents. So, like,
Yes.
shocker, Jeff Bezos is making the world worse.
100%. And as a tourist that has recently gone to Venice, I do kind of want to talk about this for a second because, yeah, I went to Venice in January. I tried to be a responsible traveler. I spent my money like with local places and I used public transit and like all that stuff. I'm trying to be obviously respectful.
I think when they're talking about over tourists, like you're not the one they're talking to.
No, I know. But I just want to put a caveat for when I say it is wild to me. I was so lucky also like go to Italy in January because no one was there. Like
Yeah.
the piazza that they were getting married in, or like it was like a building adjacent, like in the piazza, I guess. Piazza San Marco, I believe it's called. There was like 50 people there, and like in the summer it's like a million trillion people. But it is wild because I walked the entire of Venice, like the lagoon part.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could do it in a day, like you could walk the entire thing. It is really, really small, and they have like 4 to 6 like cruise ship like docking station things. Like it is so wild to me. Like I could not imagine. Like it would be like 6 cruise ships and they just hang out in James Bay in Victoria where we live, which kind of is
And
kind
so,
of the case.
yeah,
But
we live in Victoria, which is a cruise ship town, and they have room for 3 cruise ships to be there at one time, never more than that. And I have to tell you, the downtown core of Victoria, which is obviously larger than the area that Tori's talking about in Venice, is unbearable to be in when there's even one cruise ship in town. Like
truly unbearable.
I moved to Victoria during COVID when there were no cruise ships at all. And my first apartment was actually like so like next to the cruise ship terminal. And one day I walked out my door and there were 1 million people because nobody told, not one person was like, oh, you know, that's where the cruise ships come in. So I had no clue. And then just one day my life was ruined.
No, my life is currently ruined because Kirsten lived like 2-minute walk away. I live like a 10-minute walk away. And just dodging all the tourists and stuff like that is so frustrating. Or they just like, yeah, like they're like walking. So, and like, I get it. I'm that person when I travel too,
Yeah.
but Venice is just like that because obviously it's all the canals and then just little bridges connect all
Mhm.
of the land, I guess, all of the
Yeah.
land. And so you can get like a little backup of people like trying to cross one bridge. And so and basically they've driven out all of the residents from this one area, obviously, because of the cost of living and stuff like that. It's a very unique culture. It's very interesting, the history of like that area in particular. And this is just like so this is exactly what they've been asking people not to do for several years.
Yeah. And Jeff Bezos said, all of my friends and people who I don't know that well are going to come on their private jets and take over this whole area. So there were many, many celebs in attendance. And when I was looking up all of this stuff, there were so many articles that were like, why is Sydney Sweeney there? Why is Leonardo DiCaprio there? I'm like, because they were invited. Like, if you're invited to the $50 million Bezos wedding, I feel like most people are going to go.
I know. I was actually thinking, like, if I was invited, would I go? Because honestly, shame on you, Leonardo DiCaprio, for talking about the planet and then attending this wedding with climate criminals and Jeff Bezos.
That man ain't shit. And he always wears his little ball cap low over his face as if he can hide his identity.
Fake.
It's like,
no, it's like,
but this is like when he was in Calgary, I think, for some of the filming of The Revenant. And it was like, for people who don't know, in Calgary, they get extreme pressure changes where the wind comes over the mountains, and then for like a week at a time during the winter, the temperature will just like be so hot, and it'll go up like from -20 to like basically +20, which is I think in like the 60s for the Fahrenheit heads, within a day. And it's called the Chinook, and it's very normal, and it happens because of where the city is in relation to the mountains. And he was here filming during one, and he's like, look at this. Today shouldn't happen. It should never be this hot. And it's like, yeah, climate change is real. I'm not saying it's not, but he was arguing about something that is like a normal and natural thing.
Totally. He's like, read the headline and create discourse about something, and it's pissing me off. But yeah, so 200 people were invited or like attended this wedding, and it honestly brought me an immense sadness, a profound sadness of like, you guys clearly, you just don't have any friends. Like, you invited 200 people and they're randos.
Yeah, it's like, it's not anyone you've ever, like, you don't really see Bezos around people that often, but when you do, it's like none of these were people that you see him with generally for the most part. And it was all these celebs, and I'm sorry, for $50 million, you're only inviting 200 people to your wedding is crazy. Like, do you even know anyone?
I kind of think that he paid for everything. Like, that's maybe what drove up the cost, was that he paid for everybody's stays and stuff like that.
Well, he'd better have. I'm sorry. You get invited, like, that would be ridiculous.
To like the richest man in the world. Yeah, it was a networking event. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, it didn't seem like it was anything but that. It was just funny to me. I think the funniest part of this was, looking at the random celeb invites, and then every time they would take like the water taxi, and they would be like entering and exiting buildings, acting like they were Princess Diana and Prince Charles. Like
literally. I also saw a bunch of articles that were like, Lauren Sanchez is wearing alarming corsets. These corsets are so scary. And it's like, you can just say the outfit's ugly.
Oh my God. Yeah. So check out our outfits. Because she wore obviously several. I liked the one. So there's one where she wears a headscarf and sunglasses, very like Sophia Loren or whatever. I thought that looked really chic. but it looked performative. Like it didn't look.
It's the thing
like her
is
style.
like that scarf did not stay on her head. Like that was there just for the photo op, and then she snatched it off because that is not her normal look. But I do agree that was probably my favorite one that she wore.
And then she had that silver one with the corset.
Yeah,
that was the one that was alarming. And that looked like, something that Kim Kardashian would wear to the Met Gala. It was a beautiful dress, I thought, but it was just, she looked so uncomfortable. And I think part of like when people have good style and good outfits, part of it is like the ease.
Yes.
Like that they have in
like
the
how you
clothes.
Carry yourself versus the clothes itself. Yeah, she seems really uncomfortable in every photo of her I've ever seen, and it's just giving uncanny valley, honestly.
It is. It is. I feel like they were also, which this kind of actually makes sense, but I kind of feel like they were trying to replicate a lot of the characteristics of George Clooney and Amal's wedding. And Amal Clooney.
And they can't. But like good for them for trying, I guess.
Right?
And that's the thing too, where it's like the whole thing, it just kind of feels soulless. And normally when you see people get married, it's like I love and I love seeing people who love each other like committing to each other, and I love weddings. But then I feel like from this wedding, we don't know anything more about either Lauren or Jeff as people. No. And it just comes across as so inauthentic and disingenuous. So it's just kind of like, this is exactly why it's like the wedding of 2 weeks versus the wedding of the century, because they didn't give what they could have given.
Like they thought they were going to eat and it was going to be the wedding of the century. To be honest, I still really think the weddings of the century are like Will and Kate and Meghan and Harry.
No, it's the one from last year that Sasha and I talked about.
Oh yes. And that
one, the Ambani, the Ambani wedding. That is the wedding of the century.
Yes.
But you're right, like because it was on par with a royal wedding, right?
And I think just like the access, because it's televised, it makes it seem like such a big deal. Obviously, and Lauren did a Vogue spread. What did you think about her dress?
I'm bored. I'm literally bored. And like, again, she looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I am just like, is that what she really wanted to wear? I don't.
Well, she was styled by Dolce & Gabbana, and I think it was Gabbana or whatever that designed it.
So the dress, it's like kind of got a high neck of like lace detailing over top of like a kind of sweetheart neckline with buttons down the front, and it's cinched to the gods because she has committed to the corset, in case you did not know. And literally every picture of her wearing this dress, and honestly of Jeff Bezos in his tux, looks like their faces have been photoshopped onto them.
Yeah, I know. She kind of has, again, love and light. But she kind of has like the overfilled Joker.
Oh my god. Hey, I've been informed that actually a lot of people that you think are overfilled are actually just allergic to feather pillows. I don't know why they keep sleeping on the feather pillow, but
oh, interesting.
That's what I heard.
Like the down. That's so funny. It just makes her, I think she just chronically looks uncomfortable is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I would love to see Lauren Sanchez on like a beach on a real vacation where she can just be herself and not be worried about the performance of like, because I'm sure there's like the Lauren Sanchez that she is, and then the Lauren Sanchez that is a character that she has to play when she's in public now that she's married to one of the richest men in the world. And I wonder what the real Lauren's like.
I know, me too. I do wonder. I've been seeing a lot of clips that have kind of come up over the last couple days as people want to learn more about her with like her journalism job and stuff like that. And she seems super charming and beautiful and smart. And yeah, that I don't know. That's all I can really say on that. The corset and the dress. I wonder, like, is this Kim Kardashian's influence from like all of her?
Do you think
Met
she got a rib
galas?
removed?
Lauren or Kim?
Yeah, Lauren.
No, I think she took a beat from Kimberly Noel. It looks very much like what Kim does.
Okay.
Like when Kim was doing like the Marilyn Monroe dress and stuff like that, she wore a corset underneath because she needed to cinch her waist. And I think it's like she probably did what Kim did, which was like 2 weeks of like Ozempic and that like chamber that makes you sweat, like sitting in that sweating chamber thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The corset, I guess the corset is a little alarming to me. So I guess I don't know why I was judging those articles, but it's fine. Did you see where they like put down like the weird tile floor for the ceremony? That was like one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, so I'm wondering because I know with the protests, there's a bunch of protests leading up. They kind of had to pivot with the wedding, right? So I wonder if they had to last minute add that carpet. To me, it feels, or carpet or tiled floor, whatever it is. To me, it looks like a last minute addition. Like, you know, when people host weddings outside and it's supposed to be sunny and then all of a sudden it rains and they last minute have to add tents or something like that. Like, to me, it looks like that. Like a contingency plan.
And this is the thing, like, they're so rich. Like, just go have your wedding somewhere where you're not bothering anyone else. Can't you rent like a private island or something?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. It's obviously they wanted to do something public. Yeah.
It's annoying. So one celebrity who was not in events was Charlize Theron. She was at a charity event, and she at this event said, "I think we might be the only people who did not get an invite to the Bezos wedding, but that's okay because they suck and we're cool." And then at the end of her speech, she said, "Here in Los Angeles, in the US, and across the globe, we're moving backwards fast. Immigration policy has destroyed the lives of families, not criminals. Women's rights are becoming less and less every day. Queer and trans lives are increasingly being erased. And gender-based violence is on the rise. This isn't policy, it's personal." And when the crowd cheered, she added, "Fuck them," which could have been, I think it's all interlinked. So
yeah, and she's always been on the right side of history. I don't know what else to say.
If there's one place you're going to find Charlize Theron, it is standing on business. And I like that she didn't go to the wedding. / I guess she probably wasn't invited. She also, she did call her daddy. That just came out this week, which I have not listened to because like no one
everyone can make me listen. Literally everyone and their daddy has to call her daddy.
And anytime I listen to an episode of Call Her Daddy, I just get disappointed because Alex Cooper is a really great chatter, but she's not a good interviewer. And so if she just called it a chat show, I would probably really love Call Her Daddy, but it's supposed to be interviews. But also, this is like the first thing that comes up when you look up Charlize Theron. She shared that she recently fucked a 26-year-old and it was really amazing. She's 49. She's good for her. She's almost 50, 49. Get it, girl.
Man, oh man, that's so funny. That's so funny. The range is...
She has it all. Okay, wait. She also said in the interview, the apps are just horrible. It's not hard. It's a fucking clown show. She's so right for that.
She's so real. Like, honestly, her range is aspirational. Like, that's crazy. She's so funny.
Wait, no, I'm crying. Not because I want to date you, but because I want to help you. No Burning Man photos. No photos of you with other women. I don't care. I don't want to know that you have had girlfriends. And I don't want you shooting a fucking selfie in your closet of your hand in a jean pocket.
Ew. I know. Oh my God. But it's like,
Love her.
In reality, though, it's like, guys, I feel like, you know how guys think, like lots of muscles and stuff like that. Like, I feel like guys have such a different perspective of what is attractive to women.
It's oftentimes heterosexual men who are performing for the male gaze rather than the female gaze.
They're making the profiles just for other men.
Like they create the standard and then they meet the standard, but they've never once asked a woman what they think, and so they're not having success. Did you see that guy who had swiped like 2 million times?
Yeah, and then he was like, "Yeah, women just like suck. Like I've never had a girlfriend or whatever." And it's like, yeah, and your vibes of misogyny, like I can smell them from here.
It's a thing of like, okay, you swiped however many million times. The common denominator is you, sir.
I know, 100%. Like, I'm not saying apps are easy. Like, apps are hard. I think they're like very devoid of emotion and like humanity. And I think it's so easy. Like, I think we're seeing this on Love Island right now. Is like, I think that people just think like endless options. If you get the ick or like a little road bump, you can just go to the next or speed bump or whatever. You can just go to the next person. Like he's right in that sense, but like also, babe, you're an incel.
It's also like, if that had happened to me, you couldn't waterboard it out of me.
No, literally. No, actually, like that's actually so embarrassing. That's another thing that some people on TikTok, and again, like I sometimes admire that, like they really don't give a fuck, but like some of this stuff, I'm like you couldn't pay me $1 million to say that out loud.
I mean, for $1 million, maybe, but like,
no.
There's also a lot of stuff that had it happen to me, I'd be taking it to my grave.
100%. Yeah.
Not great. Okay. One other thing that's like, it's not a quick bite, but we're gonna kind of treat it like one because we like to have fun on this podcast, and this is very not fun, but just an update on the Diddy criminal trial. The jury did come back with a verdict. They came back with unanimous verdicts. He was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution of 2 counts. So each count could carry a sentence of up to 10 years. So a total of 20 years possibly. But he was acquitted on the sex trafficking and racketeering charges. And we will report back once sentencing happens. He was not granted bail while he awaits sentencing. But here's my question. And I would love if someone's like a criminal lawyer that could clear this up for me in the comments. What the hell is the difference of transportation to engage in prostitution and sex trafficking? How is that?
Oh yeah.
How are you guilty of one but not the other? Like, that's what I'm confused about. Yeah. And I am just not a lawyer or legal professional. So I would love for someone who is an expert in this field to explain to me how that can be the case.
Maybe it's like the size of the.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe it's like cross-country borders or something. I have no idea.
Yeah, I would love to know if someone who is a lawyer could explain it to me. That would be great because I am not an expert, and that's okay. I'm happy to admit when I don't know. But yeah, so we will let y'all know when he is actually sentenced and what the sentence is. But he's also awaiting like so many civil suits as well. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like the story's not over. It is a super downer and horrible story. So we try not to talk about it too much here on Us Magnets because we want to have fun. But it's kind of like a major news piece in a week with nothing else going on. So we had to at least mention that it happened.
Totally. I know. I feel the same on my pod, and it's like it's something I don't want to talk about, but it's like it's tough when that is like also what everyone is talking about.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's really tough, but that's okay. Now we're gonna go into just like a bunch of quick bites and yap and all of that. So I didn't realize that Jeanette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Is Dead, was being made into a series, but it is. Good for her. And Jennifer Aniston is going to play her mom.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this. Did you read the book?
Yes, I did. I listened to the audiobook. It was so incredible to hear in Jeanette's voice, her talking about all of her trauma and just what she'd been through. And I love that after so many years of her mom, capitalizing on her and taking advantage of her, she now gets to use the story of what her mom did to her to make bank. I love that for her.
Totally. It seems so fitting. And I think Jennifer Aniston is actually the perfect, like, I think she can do like stage mom. Like, I think she's actually good casting for this.
Yeah, I think that she'll do a good job. And she even like kind of looks like she could be related to,
I was just gonna
like,
say,
Jeanette.
I kind of feel like when the book came out, I didn't read it. I listened to Celebrity Memoir Book Club cover it, and I felt like that was sufficient because I think it
It's
is very heavy.
It's a hard read.
It's a hard read, and I just like didn't have capacity, so that felt like a good way to interact with it. But I think I remember at the time seeing pictures of her and her mom, and I kind of think like, yeah, I think like aesthetically, I feel like they look similar. I just love this for Jennifer Aniston's career too, because she was always just known for like obviously her comedy acting,
Yes.
and then like in TV and movies, and then her morning show Apple TV series came out, and I think people were like, oh no, she actually has like range, like she can do like dramatic serious acting.
Well, but that's the thing too, like anytime you see an actor who traditionally does comedic roles start to branch out, I feel like almost every time it's like, oh,
Really
this person is
good.
incredible. Like
Yeah.
like Steve Carell is a really good example of that, where I think people didn't realize the breadth of his acting talent, and then he started doing dramatic roles, and it's like, oh, wait a second, he's incredibly talented.
Yes, and I also think of the guy from The Hangover. And Between Two Ferns, Zach Galifianakis. Like that's, I think he's really good too. And it makes sense because I think comedy, because people think comedy is light and breezy and fun, that it's less skill. But I actually think it's like almost sometimes more skill.
No, I think it takes more skill because a lot of times in comedy acting, you are acting situations that are just so ridiculous, and you have to make them feel grounded in reality and not laugh the whole time you're doing it. And so I think it actually takes so much more skill. So I'm really excited to see Jennifer Aniston in this role. I've actually not watched her Apple TV show.
I haven't watched it either, but
I heard
people
it's amazing.
people say it's really good. It has at least 3 seasons, so I think it does really well.
Yeah, Apple TV is one of those ones where it's like every couple years I'll get it for a month and then binge everything I've missed and then cancel it.
Me too. But I'm also stoked because Jeanette is going to be like doing all of the like show running, producing, and stuff like that. I think that that's what she's kind of been doing a little bit more behind the scenes stuff since her acting career.
I mean, it's from like, the book. She doesn't want to act. Like
and I don't think she like ever did really. I think she liked like theater, and like I think she liked the aspects of television and stuff like that. But like I don't actually think she really liked acting.
from the book, and it's been a few years since I've read it now, so if I'm wrong, please forgive me, but it was really, acting was something her mom pushed her to do because she felt that she could succeed in it and that she could make money and be like a resource to the family.
Want to also like,
I think her mom had wanted to act
dreams.
And push her daughter through it. And there were many, many times over the course of the book where Jeanette talks about wanting to quit, and she couldn't quit because this was the only thing that would get her mother's approval, which, in case you didn't realize by the title, I'm Glad My Mom Died, is that her mom was literally an abusive monster. And so in that type of situation, oftentimes you just do like whatever you can to not get punished or not get hurt, right? So I'm really glad that she's found a way to have a career in the industry without having to compromise what she really wants.
100%. Totally. Yeah.
Love
it. Love to see her winning.
Love to see her winning. Okay, I saw this headline a few times today about how Lily Allen did a podcast. Of course, everyone's on a fucking podcast. Well, what about my podcast, y'all? Like, come on, Miss Magnets. She did the Miss Me podcast, and she said she cannot remember how many abortions she's had. She got her first IUD when she was 23, but up until that time, she would just get pregnant all the time and have an abortion, and good for her.
Yeah, no notes on my end. I think the headline's getting picked up because she says she can't remember, and it's like, well, that's just like a turn of phrase. Like she's just indicating that she's not being specific about the number. Like it doesn't mean that she actually doesn't remember how many abortions she's had.
She said she wants to say 4 or 5, so she might have lost count, which is also fine because it's literally medical care. She also said that once she got pregnant and the man paid for the abortion, and she thought it was so romantic, and then she never heard from him again.
No, literally, I'd be that bitch, like romanticizing it, like literally me. Literally me. I think, let's get some. I think what I'll say about this is I think let's try to get some more preventative measures like condoms and like blah, 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 more accessible to young people who are having sex. So, because, medical procedures, things can go wrong or like there's downtime, whatever. But yeah, whatever. She received medical care. I don't think that this is like shocking at all or
no, and I think it's actually really good because I feel like when people talk about abortion, they often push to the most extreme cases of like, well, obviously in this case it should be allowed, and because this is so extreme, and it's like, no, it's actually like quite as simple as being pregnant and you don't want to be pregnant anymore. Is a valid reason. And so I like getting some representation of that. Because
100%. And like birth control, like I said condoms, but yeah, like when she was saying she got an IUD at 23, it's like, I think that's the case for a lot of people because before they're like legally adults or whatever, a lot of times they're not really directing their medical care. So they don't have access to birth control and condoms and stuff. So, I think it is refreshing to hear someone talk about it in a way that also like isn't like, I do think you're right. Like, it's like, we always have to add caveats to it or it's like the saddest story in the world.
Yes.
And like, it's just kind of refreshing to hear like, this is what happened. And like,
and everything was fine.
Qualms. Yeah. I have no qualms about it. And like, I'm resilient and, just like I wouldn't really tell you about how many dental like how much dental work I've had over the last couple of years. I wouldn't disclose this information, but because we're talking about it, this is it.
I do have to say, similar to Lily Allen, I do not know how many dental fillings I've had.
Literally. Literally.
Okay. Also, I don't think the entire Dancing with the Stars cast has been announced, but the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives did a reunion on Hulu with Nick Viall hosting it. And listen, they had to hire him to do it for Hulu because otherwise he was going to do it on his podcast. Like, literally.
No, seriously.
That's what he does.
I think one of our biggest moral failings in the entire world is allowing that man to become not only a successful podcaster, but the go-to podcast for basically every Bravo, and like honestly, just every like Love Island, Secret Wives.
It's such a piss off because here's the thing about Love Island. I've been podcasting about Love Island for RHAP since the first season of Love Island USA in 2019 when it was on CBS.
Correct.
And it is now on Peacock. I've been in the trenches, right? And now NBC and Peacock, they're so excited when RHAP covers their shows like Destination X or like Extracted or whatever, like shows that no one's watching, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then then us, every time we ask to interview one of the people, they say, oh, we'll let you know. And then they never do because that show's already big. So they feel like they don't need us. And I'm irritated. Don't spread that around everyone.
Yeah, that's for the messengers only. But yeah, 100%. Like it's the go-to exit interview for so many people.
Everything.
Like basically everything that's not like a strategy game, because I feel like the strategy ones like RHAP and stuff like that have that
but
sector
even
unlocked.
Still, Nick Viall gets them from traders too, I feel.
Yeah, and I feel like he had maybe some like Deal or No Deal. I don't know. He just gets a lot of them because I think it's like a daily show or something. So he needs tons of guests.
And he fills it up and he is succeeding and good for him. But so he hosted, and I have to say, I couldn't get through the reunion. I was bored.
Was it him or the women?
It was just everything. Like, I just thought it was boring. Like, we did find out that one of the women does, or some of the women do coffee enemas, which is like, okay. And he's like, well, but you can't drink coffee, but you can have a coffee enema. And they basically said that, like, in Mormonism, if you can say it's like for a medical reason, you can break basically any rule, which was kind of interesting. But I don't know. Generally speaking, I find those women very boring. And it's only when they're like at parties being crazy that I'm interested in them.
100%. I was telling Kirsten because she was like, can we cover this? And I was like, no, I didn't watch season 2 and I probably won't.
Season 2 was way better than season 1.
Maybe I will give it a chance if it's like a slow season, like TV watching season.
I couldn't turn it, like I watched it all in a weekend. I couldn't turn it off because I was obsessed with season 2, TBH.
I just like the thing with that show to me is like, to me, the thing that I'm interested in is the swinging. And they
talk about it more in season 2 because Miranda's on the show in season 2.
Okay, maybe I'll have to take a closer look. But I'm like, I think really fumbled getting them a TV show quicker to the actual mom talk scandal.
What's the problem is that Taylor Frankie Paul was the only one who wanted to do it, and no one else from the actual swinging scandal was interested in going on the show until season 2 when Miranda came in after being divorced. So, like, they tried to get Miranda on season 1, and she said no. So,
and then she saw it was a success and then came on this one.
Well, I think it's because she was still married to her husband and like trying to just ride out the scandal, but then they've since been divorced, and so she was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it now that I'm divorced. Like, I need work. I need to care for my children. But yeah, so at the end of this reunion, for some reason, Nick Viall gets to be the one to tell them which of the Mormon wives are going to be on Dancing with the Stars. And it's crazy.
That's actually crazy.
It's crazy.
Who is in contention?
And it seems like Jen Affleck, Whitney, and Taylor Frankie Paul were in the running. And so you think obviously Taylor Frankie Paul or Whitney.
Is it problematic that I like Taylor Frankie Paul?
I love Taylor Frankie Paul.
I think
she's hilarious.
I think
that really she gets I think you'll like season 2. She's great.
Okay. I'll give it a go.
They like do the big rundown, and then it's like, okay, Jen Affleck is going to be on Dancing with the Stars. And everyone's like, we're so happy for you. We love you so much. Like, we'll be watching. And like, you can see that Whitney is maybe the most disappointed because I do think Whitney likes dancing the most out of all of the moms. And
we know that for sure.
from the ICU to Dancing with the Stars, you know? And so you could tell she's disappointed, and she's like, it's fine. I'll be rooting for you, Jen, from like the sidelines. Like, I'm rooting for you. Like, yeah, obviously I'm disappointed. I had wanted to go on, but like, I got your back. And then Nick's like, we have one more announcement to make. Actually, 2 of you will be on Dancing with the Stars. And then the other one is Whitney. So it's Jen and Whitney will be on Dancing with the Stars. And I feel like you could see the light leaving Taylor Frankie Paul's eyes because it's like
she's the star.
Her and Whitney are the 2 stars of the show, and Taylor more so than Whitney, for sure. 100%. They're the only 2 that have star qualities, in my opinion.
Yeah, Taylor Frankie Paul is like the Lauren Conrad, is like the Carrie Bradshaw, like everyone is great in the cast, but they just are like the narrator. And I just think it's really interesting also that like the other cast members are like Alex Earl and stuff like that. Like, it's gonna be so interesting to like if we see these people like interacting with like Alex Earl. Like, it's so random.
I'm sure they already have. I didn't even realize that the whole cast had been released. That's how out of it I am. Let me see if there's anything else I even know.
I think they're doing like a trickle.
No, why is Robert Irwin on Dancing with the Stars? Bindy's little brother.
Should I tune in? Like,
she won the show 10 years ago. Yeah, and then Alex Earl. And then Jen, obviously Jen and Whitney, and that's all that we know so far.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
I just cannot wait till the season. So if people don't watch Dancing with the Stars, I've never really closely followed it, but because so many people that we talk about are on it, you know, you get the secondhand gossip. But they do a week where they talk about like their hardest moment in their life, and then they do a dance to inspire it. And I just can't wait for the package that they show that's going to be Whitney dancing in ICU. In front of her sick son, and her talking about that learning moment.
No, and
then her channeling it in. She's gonna channel it into the ballroom dance, but she'll have to do like the red.
No, it's so. That whole thing is just so crazy. Like, that's a thing that happened, and then it keeps coming back up, and like, the thing is, like, all the women hate Whitney. But none of them hate her for that, which is like the one truly hateable thing she's done. And so I just find it so bizarre.
100%. Yeah.
Speaking of Afflecks, I also saw an article about how JLo and Ben Affleck are having trouble selling their $60 million mansion.
Yeah, this is really interesting because I think that they bought this as kind of like a Hail Mary
to like save the marriage.
Yeah, like they bought it at the like, and then weeks later their divorce was announced. I don't even know if they actually like even really like lived in it, basically.
Yeah, but if they did, I think probably only one of them did. And what's funny to me is that I saw an article in the Daily Mail about it that was like, their love do cost a thing.
That's really good. But yeah, I'm curious if they're gonna do like an architectural digest, like an AD home tour. Maybe, because AD home tours, a lot of times celebrities will like use that as press to sell their house to like other rich people.
Yeah, I mean, they had listed it for 68 million, and then a month ago dropped the price to 60. So, what a struggle for them.
I'm actually fine with that because I just because I'm a bitter Canadian that's pissed at people making all of their equity through real estate. So I'm like, whatever.
It's 38,000 square feet, basketball court, boxing ring, pickleball courts, a zero-edge infinity pool with mountain views, and a 12-car garage and parking for 80 cars.
80 cars? I'm pretty sure my apartment building has like parking for 80 cars.
I don't think your apartment building has room for 80 cars.
No, I know.
I'm being dead ass. Like, it's less than that for sure.
No, literally. That's wild. Yeah, I guess it's one of those garages that like go in, like that are below the house or whatever that people put their luxury cars in.
When your car has an elevator, like, you've lost touch with reality. I'm sorry.
Yep. Correct.
Okay. The last thing I wanted to bring up, just because the first time we ever podcasted about pop culture was when we found out Rihanna was pregnant. So it's like a full circle moment.
Yes.
ASAP Rocky accidentally revealed the gender of the baby he's currently expecting with Rihanna. So he was getting interviewed and someone said, "Oh, is it the girl that you've been waiting for?" And he said, "It is." And then people are like, "Oh, and Rihanna wore pink, so she must be telling us." And so it looks like they are having a little girl.
That's so cute because obviously they have 2 boys.
Yes.
And I think we did talk about this specific aspect of it too when we were talking about her first pregnancy.
Yeah.
She was seen at Target picking out girls' clothes, so we thought that she was going to have a girl, but then she either did that to throw off the paparazzi or was like shopping for other people.
I mean, I know someone who was told their whole pregnancy they were having a girl, and then when the baby was born, it was a boy.
Would you be upset?
I mean, I personally would be, which is why I shouldn't and will not be having children.
No, literally me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm stoked for this. I was also thinking about Rihanna like earlier in the episode when we talked about wearing clothes that like align with your like soul. And I think
she can wear anything.
She always look like, even though she changes up the like style and like the designers and like truly has gone through so many different eras, she always looks like it is like natural to her person.
Yes. She can wear literally anything because she just exudes the confidence and like the posture. So I do love it. But okay, that's really it for the quick bites, and we actually have managed to stretch us out to almost an hour, so I'm really proud of us here. Are you ready for
I didn't think we would do anything else. Like, seriously, I knew this was happening.
Are you ready for Anonymous, Torry?
I am.
So for anyone, again, who's new or hasn't been listening, at the end of every Mess Magnets episode, we do share a piece of anonymous gossip from one of our listeners, the messengers. And so we have this one to share with you. So our messenger says, back when they were in middle school, which is about 14 years ago, their mom met a man online and moved them to a different state to be with this man. So our messenger and their mom moved to a different state to be with this man they met online. While they were there in another state, our messenger's mom got pregnant. But before the baby was even born, she realized that she made a mistake and they moved back home to their original state. And her mom reconciled with our messenger's stepdad, who they had been separated from when they moved states. So she was like married to someone, they got separated. She met someone online, moved states to be with them, got pregnant, and then decided, no, I want to go back to my initial partner. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they worked things out, and the stepdad is like, no, I will raise this baby as my own. No problem. Like, I'm just happy to be with you. So the baby is born, our messenger's brother, raised by our messenger's stepdad. And throughout his childhood, our messenger would always ask their mom, like, when are you going to tell my brother that that's not his real dad? When are you going to tell him? And she said, oh, I'm going to tell him, but I want to make sure he's old enough to understand when I tell him. Our messenger was like, okay, that makes sense. But like, you should probably tell him at least before he gets to middle school. Which I don't know if I don't know. I feel like,
yeah, I actually don't know what the answer. It's probably personal to each family, but I actually don't know what the answer is to that.
It's hard because you want your children to be equipped with like complete medical records in case there's anything that like their doctors need to know. So like he definitely needs to know. But I'm like, is it more like soul crushing to learn really young, or to maybe have a bit more maturity before you get that information?
But then when they're mature, they feel like they've been lied to.
Yeah, and they have been. So it's really
Yeah.
hard.
It's tough.
I don't know what the correct answer is. But fast forward to now, our messenger's brother just entered his final year of middle school this year and still has no idea that it's not his real father. Our messenger always tries to encourage their mom to tell him, but she doesn't really feel the need to right now. Our messenger is worried that he's going to resent her. His real father, or not real, like his real father is the man who raised him. Like, let's be clear. But his biological father has never reached out or made an attempt to have a relationship with him. And our messenger says that it really feels like something you would see in a movie or on a TV show, and that it's going to get really messy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's going to get messy, but I think that as long as when it does all come to light, it's handled with like care more than anything, I think that ultimately it will probably be okay.
Yeah, I feel like if you accept whatever his feelings are, if that's like anger, sadness, or regret, or betrayal, or whatever, if you like hold space for that and then are like a loving sibling,
yeah,
I think like that's all you can really do, to be honest. But that's tough. That's really tough. That does sound like the plot of a movie.
It does. And I would love to watch that movie or read that book. And thank you to our messenger for submitting. And if anyone else has any mess, you can submit it at tinyurl.com/messmagnets. That being said, that is it for the episode. I have fully taken Torry past her heart out, so I am deeply apologetic for that. But again, you can follow Torry Ready to Be Romanced wherever you get your podcast, or Ready to Be Petty on Patreon. You can follow me at Kirsten Said What, or see my Love Island coverage at weknowloveisland.com. Follow Sasha at funsize_04, and you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@mess.magnets, and patreon.com/messmagnets. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week with more mess. Bye.